Hello everyone, welcome. So happy that you could be here with us today. My name's Coach Aly, and right now we're going to talk about soccer. And so soccer is a really fun sport that you can play with friends, family, or anyone that you have around. And it is a really cool way to get physically active and uses a lot of different skills. And so the skill that we're going to talk about right now is defense. And so for starters, we're going to talk about goaltending. It's a huge part of defense. The goalie is a person on the field on your team who is the only one who's allowed to use their hands to stop the ball from going in the goal. Most of the time in blind soccer, the goalie might have vision or partial vision, but if you're at camp or again just playing with friends and you step in to be the goalkeeper, you want to make sure you know what you're doing. That way you can prevent injury and save a lot of goals from going in. So for starters, you want to have your hands up in front of you. You want them about chest level, and you're almost going to make a diamond with their hands. So that's going to be with your two pointer fingers almost touching and your two thumbs almost touching, and it almost makes a diamond. And by having your hands in front of your chest, you can either move them up in front of your face pretty quickly, or you can drop them down in front of your stomach pretty quickly. And so here I have my soccer ball. And so again, with my fingertips together of my index finger and my two thumbs together, it makes almost a diamond. And I can have the ball up in front of my face. I can catch it at my chest, or I can catch it in front of my stomach with my hands. At my chest, I can also move either hand side to side pretty quickly to cover the most space of the goal to prevent any shots from going in. If a ball is rolling or bouncing towards me and I can hear it coming, I can figure out the direction that it's coming from. What I want to do is I want to do almost a lunge, which is taking one step, a big step forward with either foot, dropping my back knee down to the ground, and then I'm going to keep my pinkies and palms close together and keeping my elbows close together so that they're almost touching, and then I'm going to scoop the ball up, and then I'm going to flex my wrist so that the ball is touching my forearms, and then I'm going to hug the ball into my chest to make sure it's nice and protected. Once I have control of the ball, to give it back to my team, I'm going to do the same lunge forward. So again, taking one foot, taking a big step forward, bending my back knee down, and then I'm going to roll the ball as if I'm bowling. So whatever your dominant hand is, put the ball in that hand, bring it back to get some power, and then bring your arm forward to roll it. You want to make sure that when you take that big step forward and bring your knee down to the ground, you're nice and low, so when you roll the ball, it doesn't bounce a whole lot for your teammate, and they can go ahead and do a better job of controlling it, and then they can go score a goal as well. And then besides goaltending, you can also play defense when you're on the field by trying to get the ball away from the other team. When you're on defense, you want to make sure the other team doesn't get a shot on goal, because then that's less work that the goalie has to do. If they can't shoot, they can't score. And on defense, you want to try and get the ball back to your team so that your team can go shoot and score. So the best way to play defense on soccer is by starting off in an athletic position. So what that's going to look like is I'm going to have my feet about shoulder width apart, and so that means that they're not too wide, that my legs are really far apart, because then that's going to be a lot of work for my legs to have to move, but you don't want them to be too close together because then you're off balance. You want them shoulder width apart, and you want your toes pointing forward, and you want to be on your toes, not on your heels or just flat-footed. You want on your toes so that you're ready to move in either direction. And then you want to have a slight bend in your knees. Again, that way you're ready to go. You can move forward forward, you can move side to side, you can move backwards. So again, athletic position, you want your toes pointing forward, you want your feet about shoulder width apart, which is about the same distance of your hips. Again, not too far apart, but not too close together, right in between. And you want a slight bend in your knee. This way you're nice and stable, you're strong, and you're ready to move. And so then, when you're playing defense, you want to make sure that you are in between the person with the ball and the goal. If you're in between the person with the ball and the goal, that means they either have to go through you or find a way around you in order to score. So at all times, you want to be moving so that you're in between the person with the ball and the goal. The goal should always be at your back, and you can listen to your goalkeeper and the other players on the field to determine where the goal is behind you. And then as the player with the ball is moving, you can either reach out, try to feel them, see where they are. And you want to do anything to disrupt them having the ball. So either try and get a toe poke, get the ball away from them, try and steal the ball. That way you have possession of it and you can dribble then. Or you can, if they're trying to pass, you can want to try and get a foot in the way, anything to disrupt them shooting on goal. But obviously, you don't want to be pushing them. You don't want to foul them because then they still have the ball. So ways to move when you're on defense would be jogging forward. So you can jog forward, and then you can backpedal, which is essentially jogging backwards. So just taking one step back and then following with the other foot. But if you're practicing this, you want to make sure that you have a lot of space around you so that you don't run into anything. When you're backpedaling, you want to make sure you're picking your feet up so that you don't trip over your heel. And again, you want to make sure you're staying on your toes for this. So again, backpedaling, you want to pick your foot up, kick your heel back, make sure that there's a lot of space if you're practicing in your backyard, and then it's essentially jogging backwards. If you're moving side to side, you want to do a shuffle. So a shuffle is if you take either foot, it doesn't matter which one, and you take a big step to the side, and then you bring the opposite foot back to a standing position, and keep doing that to the same side. So if I'm using my right foot, I'm going to take a big step with my right foot, then I'm going to bring my left foot back to a standing position, my athletic stance, and then I'm going to repeat that. So another big step with my right foot, and then bringing my left foot back to athletic position. And once you're comfortable with that, you can do it faster. You still want to stay on your toes. You don't want to be flat-footed or on your heels. So if I'm on my toes, with my knees bent, my feet shoulder width apart in my athletic position, taking a step with my right foot, and then bringing my left foot to meet back to my athletic stance. And then once I'm comfortable with this and I can do it faster, I can add almost a hop or a gallop, and then I can cover space pretty quickly. So again, stepping and bringing the opposite foot to meet. And so then if you put this all together, you can practice using a chair. So if I have a chair and it is on my right side, I can feel it because it's touching the outside of my right leg. I can go and move around the chair feeling it. So it's on the outside of my right leg. I can feel that. I'll take a step forward and then take a step to my right. So now the chair is behind me and I feel it behind my legs. And I keep moving around the chair, so continuing to step to the right. Now I'm on the other side of the chair, so it's on the outside of my left leg. And then I'm back to the opposite side of the chair where I started. And then you can do the same to the other side. So I feel it on the left side of my leg. I'm taking a step to the front. I feel the chair on the back of my legs. I'm stepping around. Now the chair is on the outside of my right leg. I'm stepping back. And then once you're comfortable with that, it's almost the letter C movement. You can do a little faster. So again, stepping around to the front, I feel it behind me. Then stepping around to the opposite side. And then what this demonstrates is dynamic movement. So I'm pretending that the chair is the goal, and so I'm moving around the chair so it's always behind me. And so what you can do is you can get a friend, a family member, a parent, sibling to come and then dribble a soccer ball again in a C shape around the chair, and you can listen to where they're dribbling. And what you want to do is try and keep your helper in front of you and the chair behind you. So if I'm listening and I can hear them moving, I want to follow the chair, and so that the chair's behind me, follow their movement around the chair. Once you're comfortable with that C shape and following their movement by listening to where they're dribbling the ball, then you can step away from the chair and try and focus on keeping your helper in front of you. Again, the goal is to stay in between the ball and the goal at all times to have really good defense. Again, if you're in between the player with the ball and the goal, they either have to go through you or around you in order to score. So that's all that I have for you today for defense in soccer, and thank you so much for watching.